Before you stands a motor. Vapor emanates from the large engine on the back of the vehicle. It hasn't had time to cool off yet. This must be the infernal machine that tore you from oblivion. The Caprice Kinema motor carriage. In the cabin, you are welcomed by a set of steering levers, a radio microphone on a hook, a pull-out toolbox under the seat, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge. A scent of leatherwork and heavy fuel oils washes over you. The frequency tableau lights up, and a green button labeled Prime Line glows like a feline eye. And then you hear something. The soft purr of electrical kittens, radio waves cast far and wide over the metropolis. A woman's voice greets you through the static.
This is Precinct 57. Hello, Lieutenant. How may I assist you?
Hello, Alice. Please assist our colleague from the 41st Precinct here. I'm putting him on.
Operating the radio is easy. Just be confident. You've probably done it 1,000 times.
This is Officer Alice Demetri, Precinct 57. How may I assist you?
Under the green Prime Line, a yellow saved button catches your eye. You wonder what the lieutenant's default radio station is.
As always, it's DJ Mesh and Felicio, and you're listening to Street Freaks FM, bringing you the hottest, the nastiest, the most vulgar.
A flock of seagulls takes off nearby, startled by the roaring radio. Right away, the lieutenant reaches into the cabin and turns off the radio. He's not looking at you as he says,
Someone must have been messing with the radio, or maybe picked up a random frequency. You wanted a Prime Line, right? Oh, is that what it was called?
Go for it. Turn the radio back on while it's still on the Speed Freaks FM.
Souped up motor carriage for one bad mama's boy, for the heavier foot and the freaky arm.
God damn it! Look, it helps me to stay alert on long nights, okay? It's a method. I'm not some kind of speed freak or... You would be too if you had this motor carriage. But seriously, let's quit joking around, alright? We have a case to investigate.
This is Precinct 57. Can I connect you to someone? Just a second, officer.
Ten 2, 10-5. This is 41st. Come in. Over.
The man uses relay code. You got this. You're a cop, and cops know relay code.
10-4, message received. 10-5, relay message. What's your status? Over. 10-18, state your message, sir. Ten-4, your badge should have most of your personal details. Look over that. Over. 10-4, anything else for you, sir? Over. Roger that. 10-10. Over.
A metallic drawer slides out from under the seat. and clicks into place. The tools inside are neatly organized.
Take what you need, officer.
The pry useful for opening. The handles are long and sleek. Snap, snap, go the cutters in your hand. You can do good work with these. Cut chains, locks, and ropes, especially belts. It's robust, weatherproof, and well-made. Police issue, blue.
That rain's cool.
Lets you see things in the dark you would otherwise miss. The pull-out toolbox slides back into the white suede, feels luxurious under the touch, and the metal clutch handle so very familiar in your palm. As you tap on the gauge, the indicator pin jerks as if startled. It's in the large orange sector, indicating the engine is warm. Next to the gauge is a red switch labeled heat.
There's no use pressing the heat button. It won't start without the ignition key.
Translation: we're not going anywhere right now.
Welcome to Revachol.
Don't you welcome to Revachol me. My grandfather came here from a 3,000-year-old racist isolationist culture, while your ancestors came to this island a mere 300 years ago. Every school of thought and government has failed in the city, but I love it nonetheless. It belongs to me as much as it belongs to you. It's men like you who keep Revachol divided, making it that much harder for everyone to climb out of this post-war limbo.
What he means is, fixation on the Revacholian nation makes it harder for Revachol to actually attain self-determination.
Oh, come on, man. I just said welcome to Revachol. It's a lorry driver thing.
I know exactly what you meant. You think my kind doesn't belong here, that I should watch myself and behave. But you see, I'm an officer of the RCM. It's actually my job to make sure you behave. I would advise you to remember that.
Silence. The air between them becomes tense. Your partner needs backup. Now's your moment to shine.
I haven't learned anything I didn't know before.
The lieutenant exhales and resumes his regular calmness.
Whatever you say, officers.
He smells of heavy motor oils and his breath of high tar content cigarettes, probably Astra Whites.
It's about biological determinism, natural law, the sorting of the races. Not the most popular topic nowadays, with the coalition in charge and all. You might want to change the topic. That is, bury your head under the sand like common sheep. I'm not just racist. Look, I've read books, huh? The science of racial theory has all been proved, even if some people don't want to accept it. People who've studied these things say that you and me are superior by design. So, naturally, we Occidentals should be in charge. Obviously, you can see the merits in that. Open your eyes. Haven't you noticed something different lately? An unfortunate downturn, maybe? Huh? When members of the superior race cease to believe in their innate superiority, they stop competing for resources. The problem? The damn kips are showing a real good game lately. Same with the mosquitoes. And the other intruders species too. They're on the precipice of cultural victory.
Cultural victory? What is this then?
It's what the kips of Boogie Street are going for, right under our noses. And the others too, on the radio. Heard any chansons lately? Heard any motetos or leader? No. Dominating culture is how they plan to win. They say so themselves. It's true. Also, you need to realize the dangers of mixing races. Who knows what might happen if people don't stay in their birthplace? You might end up with a new sub-race, with unknown characteristics, leading to extra competition. That's why you've got to control the offspring. Don't push your luck, Runt. Looking for something, Runt? Oh, not much anymore. I'm here to pick up some cargo, but the dock workers are on strike, so it's a sit and wait on your ass situation. Apples.
Apples is exactly the kind of thing you'd say if you had something to hide.
Yeah, apples? I take it you had other questions? Oh, not much anymore. The strike? Oh, they've been at it for a while. A month, 2 months maybe. But this here is just the last week or so. Apples.
Apples is exactly the kind...
Look, as detective. I come from a long line of lorrymen. We got ancient rights and privileges. Oh, I'm here to pick up a load of fucking apples, man. Just regular, Koiko-picked apples.
Koiko may be another derogative for a person from Grad, you think?
Yep, it's one of their main exports. They grow them down South Yekokata. A beautiful place. Got great scenic vistas.
In fact, Yekokata is a desolate wasteland whose name literally translates to Zone of Ecological Catastrophe. It features no scenic vistas and supports virtually no plant or animal life.
Yeah? Says who? Then, I guess they grow apples somewhere else. You can never really tell with those koikos. They're everywhere, except their own homes.
He means the people living in Grad.
Yeah, you know, Gradniks, Gradvolk. Those degenerates from Grad. Cause that's what they're all called. Koiko Pichik, Loslav Koiko, Koikovic someone. Low self-esteem, those guys have. Mind you, they look Occidental, but they're not really like us. Hey, if the name and description fit by the very grace of nature, who am I to say otherwise? Did you miss the part where I said they aren't here yet? Besides, even if I did have some, I wouldn't go putting my nose in them, huh?
Relax. You've got all you can get here. He probably doesn't even know what he's hauling, even if it is something unsavory. So he'd remain unaccountable.
Oh yeah, they're a big deal. My great-grandfather was a carter, had a royal license and everything. We've tried to hold on to our privileges. Someone with a cart? What did you think it was? That's how deep into history our thing reaches, before machines. Sure fucking is. We have a guild and everything, huh? Very ancient, very prestigious. Goddamn right. They've been trying to fuck us out of our heritage in the name of profit. But when they try to replace us, they'll regret it. Trusting street thugs with their goods is going to fuck them right up the ass. Mark my words. Generations of practice ain't no laughing matter.
Right up the bum. Cold piece of candy.
Scab?
You're hazy on the notion of a scab. Smells like politics, though. Maybe it's got something to do with the flask he reaches for from time to time.
A kind of a worm, content with mere survival. They come, they want to do our job for shittier pay, screwing over both themselves and us. Everybody loses.
So after Bill Gates and Walmart, mate.
Beats me. Somewhere in the ground, I think. Gotta be bloody stupid or freaking evil to Scab. Or I guess scared, maybe. But scared of what? Of who? Personally, I'd rather beg than scab. If the gentleman shouting on the street came begging, maybe they'd have gotten something. We've explained the matters, but they don't listen. This lot would be reasonable and go home if the big guy wasn't riling them up all the time. I was just messing with you. No one's ever seen a cop scab. Imagine, you cops going on a strike, but then another cop comes in and says, "Let us cop for less money."
Psst, show him your stolen card. Now has arrived the perfect moment.
Speaking of, what brings the RCM here, to the wild north? Come to see the strife?
The man looks at the colorful piece of plastic, then at you.
But that's not you, officer. From back when you were not a cop, but a heavy-set, dark-skinned dock worker named Santiago Jean? highly unlikely. I've known John for several years now. Also, you told me you're a cop, remember? How did you get his shift card?
Now you're in a mess. The time hath not arrived. Sorry.
Oh, John's been out drinking himself blind again? He should watch his stepdad, John.
No, it will prove useful still. Believe your thieving fingers.
Oh, is my friend in some sort of trouble? Who knew? Murder, huh? That sounds like a lot of hard work. You'd never see me investigating a murder. That's okay. I have no idea what I'm doing either. I don't even know what day it is. Don't tell me. It's a better day that way. My friend, I respect the right to roam. The open range awaits. I don't operate in that capacity. I'm not a granter of passage. The passage grants itself.
If it's all so simple, why don't the strikebreakers just go up the stairs?
Aye. Walk right past Measurehead and go in. Yeah, the 2.5 meter tall Semini Supremus is there. Walk right past him, then press the button to unlock the door, then go past him again, and you enter the arbor through the office. Está. Don't worry, I'm sure it's not completely impossible. For example, you could best Measurehead in a physical confrontation. Or you could convert to a Semini Supremacist worldview. Or, maybe it actually is completely impossible. Not yet, no. He's incredibly strong. Jean-Luc himself would say the philosophy has proven overly heroic for the scabs to convert to. Not enough intuition. Sure. You know, serious business. I'm sure the big boss will be glad to tell you. You'll have to ask him first.
He's a chatty guy. Wants to talk about the strike too. Just can't break the command structure and tell you now.
Sure thing, my friend. I can help you out.
The coin lands into your hand as if it has always belonged there.
Always glad to help out the RCM. Shame I can't do more. Things are meager at the moment due to... You know, the winter's fat is slowly running out and all. Still better than scabbing though. Nothing to worry about really. The jam's a bit of a mess, cargo can't get in or out. The rationing is a bit stricter is all. Supplies should last the strike though. I'm always glad to help out when possible. Not like these slithering scabs.
Yes?
Lorry stuck in the traffic jam. This big, heavy Grad-made machine is well kept for such an old machine. The windows are clear. They've been recently washed. You can see a lorryman's cabin with personal belongings, stickers, insignia. The driver has adorned his space with a substantial collection of peculiar paraphernalia. Proclamations about honor, strength, and purity are glued to various panels. A large metal pendant hangs from the rear view mirror. The pendant features a sun crown with wavy rays. It is a seal of Royalist era Revachol. The back end of the cabin has a small perch to sleep, large ashtrays. There are several suns and wheels sewn into the curtains. A book with ragged edges catches your notice. The front cover features a large muscular man. The title reads, Man from Eamdal in the Lost City of the Pygmies.
Racist nationalist paraphernalia. Not unusual in this part of town. This is our guy. Likely, yes. This guy's proud of who he is. Drapes it all over his machine.
There he is, in front of Rita, smoking nervously, hoping it's over. The small, wrinkled woman does not greet you. She nods along to something on her radio. A photograph is clutched in her hands, and there is a warm smile on her face. The photo, an ambrotype from the turn of the century, as golden as her smile. No response. Wherever this woman is, your words fail to reach her.
Wait. She's just a distracted old woman. Better to leave her alone. Why? I just told you why.
Old monument stands in the middle of the traffic island, pointing toward the sea. It looks as if it's been reassembled piece by piece, secured and mounted in the air with the aid of numerous ropes and rods. A silver plaque on the statue's pedestal reads, I am Philip III, the Squanderer, the greatest of the Philippian kings of Revachol, son of Philip II, the opulent, father of Philip IV, the insane. As you look up, you notice something about the statue. There are some odd indentations on the king's chest piece. Even by the standards of the Philippian kings, old sumptuous Philip was known for his profligacy. Well, he blew through the whole national treasury, starting the decline of one of the penultimate century's greatest superpowers. the suzerain of Revachol. His own maladministration foreshadowed the fall of the monarchy during the anti-centennial revolution, an end to his family line and the monarchy on the Insulindian Isola. Stories have it that he had his bedroom converted into a treasure chamber where he stored unfathomable wealth. Krugerrands, bars of gold, ornate weaponry, armor, and various chalices. He called it the Sol Auron. It was obscene. There were whispers he slept on a huge pile of gold-dipped feathers, like some obese dragon, instead of a bed, like a normal person. But wait, you haven't even heard about his fabled cocaine addiction. You see, old Philippe wasn't just good at squandering the national treasury on gold and ceremonial weaponry, he was also a prodigious snorter of nose candy. Cocaine. Cocaine. His Majesty's courtiers said it helped him connect with the higher realms. That's what the revolutionaries said 150 years later, right before they emptied out the royal mausoleum and dumped His Majesty's mortal remains in the Insulindian Bay. Beneath the cold waters of the Insulindian Bay, thrown there by the revolutionaries after they cleaned out the royal mausoleum. The original was blown apart by communards, then further damaged during the landing of the coalition's airships during the turn-of-the-century revolution, when Martinez was leveled. Most historians think the coalition's hasty landing may have ultimately saved the statue. If the communards had more time, they would have reduced it up to even finer pieces. Some years ago, a group of liberal, artistically inclined individuals, designers mostly, thought it would be ironic to restore the statue of the most wasteful ruler of Revachol in the poorest part of the city. The statue is supposed to capture the moment it was blown apart, like an instant frozen in time, a rare butterfly trapped in amber, floating on a sea of shit. People in Martinez tend to disagree, as do many prominent art critics and thought leaders with more nuanced social awareness than the young ironists. Those critics might have it wrong though. There's more to it than just ironism, but you can't say what precisely. Perhaps this art mystery will be solved at a later time. Philip III, the squanderer, however, with his bronze face up in the air, doesn't seem concerned about what the hoi polloi think of him in death. Not that he ever did in life either. Something with great kinetic energy seems to have impacted the cuirass, around where the heart is. A bullet? Someone shot him in the heart. Interesting.
Okay, I can't see it, but I take your word for it. Well, Martinez is riddled with bullet holes. This place saw a lot of action during the revolution, but the statue is recently renovated, so maybe a joke, target practice, or a political statement. If we connect every bullet hole in Martinez to the murder, we'll get an overwhelming amount of loose threads. But then again, we don't really know what we are dealing with here, so I've made a note. Don't hold your breath.
The king stands high above you, surveying the bay, mute and indifferent to your sightings. A Stars Ryko, one of the finest Zhimsk-made motor carriages ever. An oldie, but a goldie. Not many people outside of Grad, and Revachol West too, it appears.
A Stash Ryko KK2. That's a classic model. Never thought I'd see another one repainted after what happened last time.
No, only that the motor carriage is typically baby blue, the colors of Sigismund the Great, an ancient Zhimsk ruler. His banners were famously zephyr and white, the colors of the Stars Ryko.
That's, well, yes, exactly it, more or less. Except it was a crowd of them. Tore him out of the vehicle and ran him over with his own tires. They said it was an honor killing, Hussar style. The Zhimsk community protested the trial, flying the colors. 5,000 came to protest.
Correction, 4,395. The fourth largest public protest of a criminal trial in Revachol.
Is that so, officer? I'll take you at your word. People we are paid to protect. Let's leave it at that. 4 years for murder in Reunion. The perps were remorseful. Their sorry knocked 8 years off the sentence. That's the system.
Sounds like Canada.
The prisons in the greater Revachol Industrial Harbour are already full. Prisoners are expensive to maintain. The longer the sentence, the larger the cost.
I try to avoid drawing far-gone conclusions like these before actually examining the body, but my initial guess is the two are unrelated. Yes, detective? Okay, I'm not going to honor kill anyone over this, but I've seen it blue and white. It's much better that way.
One.
Yes?
Bastards! We have a right to work!
Frank the Tank. Frank the Tank. Frank the Tank.
Hold up and stay frosty, everyone. Cops are here.
You here to fuck with us? Beat the honest worker down. We're here to fight for a cause. Stripes usually have problems with people who have causes. Good. We're fighting for a cause here.
Right to work! Right to work!
Besides, we're not that different. It helps if people see us talking, cops and strikebreakers together. Shows authorities are on our side. Builds confidence. Rights of people. Rights of workers. To have gainful employment. To make a salary. And feed their families.
The right to shoot up crystal meth every day of the week.
His manner of speaking is wooden, the tone of voice bland and uninspired. almost as if compiling replies from a set of learned phrases.
Might be time. Don't let the fat bastards tread on you. Cops tend to side with the higher-ups, but you're essentially still workers. I don't trust cops, but I can see you understand the right to work! Right to work! Maybe you should ask them the questions, like why we're not allowed to make a living here.
Shame on you!
We have families to feed, you piece of shit.
So do we, Scott.
Have fun. Union shits are on full strike. Don't think they're going to let you through the gates. I'm trying to meet their fat boss. I know nothing about a murder. Wouldn't put it past these harbor bugs. They'd do anything to stay alive.
Right to work!
It's shameful. Cops doing nothing. You should bring backup. Open up the gates for us. Blockading gainful employment for workers is a crime.
We are not picking a side in this just yet, sir.
Pity.
Let us work!
When a bunch of ungrateful, lazy cockroaches can't get their act together, decide to block honest work for other people. Beats me. They mumble nonsense about boardrooms and workers' rights, while we
Have the right to work!
There's something odd in the way he carries himself. His set of clothing looks vaguely mismatched. The different pieces of the attire seem ill-fitting. His shirt is far too small and an unpleasantly tight fit, while the overalls, held up by a belt, seem to fit a man with much more corpulence. He ignores your question, choosing instead to turn to the emaciated workers, raising both fists in the air. The clothes are obviously not his. Silence is the answer. There's something off here, but he won't say what.
honest men and women with rights to work, to be useful, not toys for corporate interests. We came here to help the harbor run smoothly in time of crisis. If union fucks don't want work, they ought to let in those who do want work.
I have a question. Why do all these men follow your leadership?
You think they follow because I'm big and loud? No. They follow the rules of the market, the rules of the economy, because they were
given a job to do!
You've been talking to him for quite a while now. Something is off with this guy. Ask him where he's from.
What's it to you? No, don't think we've met before. I came to help out the people.
Every once in a while, it's like you can see glimpses of another guy under the guise of this fighter for jobs. He seems a more brutal, cunning, and suspicious person. Just a hunch. Or you just might be paranoid.
We're all workers, right? Workers stick together. Came from the eminent domain, from Jamrock. Backgrounds in odd jobs, heavy lifting, cargo hauling, bouncer work. I know the drill. Worked at Territorial. Ring a bell? We're done here. I have a strike to break.
work! Right to work! Shame on you! Things are busy enough. You going to waste less of my time?
The hulking man oozes stark skepticism.
We were promised work. We'd be in there, working, if the bastards hadn't shut the gates. Main gate's locked. Would take heavy ordnance to bust it open, but try to get in through the secretary's office. Door's locked. The guard's blocking the way to the access panel. And I don't mean the scrawny mess punk either. I mean head measurer, or whatever he is. Like civilized folk, you mean? These native fucks don't understand civilized.
It would be better for the neighborhood if you went home, at least for now, if you can't get in anyway.
No! They will give up eventually. Or get drunk. Leave the button unguarded. Then we charge.
The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, 1 bottle equals 10 cents.
No. You need tear to use the tear machine.
A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint Baptiste Pharmaceutics logo. Their logo is the bloodless rose, pure white, untouched by harm.
Just ask me if you need anything from Saint Baptiste. We don't stock prescription meds, but we do have Nosafed, Duramine, Magnesium, and Hypnogamma. I don't know. Let's see. Nosafed is a nasal spray. Duramine is a really good painkiller. Magnesium is a dietary supplement. Hypnogamma is... I don't really know what Hypnogamma is. I guess it makes you feel less shit. It's recommended to use after lots of partying, studying, or exercising. No. Sorry. I'm not like a doctor or anything.
Nosafed heals +1 health. Duramine heals +3 health. Magnesium heals +1 morale. Hypnogamma heals +3 morale.
Saint Baptiste, you know, the pharmaceuticals company. Saint Baptiste Pharmaceuticals, the one that sells meds out of Saint Baptiste. That one. There.
She is right. Saint Baptiste, the company, derives its name from Saint Baptiste, the city. Itself so named because that's what it is. A rare case where that really is the full etymological history. As far as almost anyone knows, at least. A colorful display of cigarettes and alcohol bottles line the shop wall, inviting you closer.
Man, I haven't smoked in 8 years, but I can go for a smoke right now.
The bottles wink at you in the light. The smokes too glitter in their wrapping. It's like looking into a kind of heaven. Your knees are weak. There, in that dark green glass, all in vain. The great flowing river of warmth, wine, alcohol, beer, alcohol, love, alcohol.
Alcohol. Alcohol.
Guess not, no. I'm obliged to inform you that both alcohol and cigarettes damage your health, but I guess you already know that. The pale aged vodka is special, I guess. It's stored in pale for a couple of years, which makes it super expensive and super strong. You know. I mean, I already said it'd hurt you. I don't know what else they do.
Substances give powerful bonuses to your main stats at the cost of damage to your health or morale. Cigarettes raise your intellect while damaging your health. Alcohol raises physique while damaging your morale. Use medication, like Nosafed and magnesium, to counteract the negative effects of substances. Note: consuming substances can have unforeseen consequences for you.
No, Frit only sells legal drugs, like the law says. Welcome to Frit. Feel free to look around or something. Everything is out on the shelves.
What's that magazine she's reading?
You mean this? This is Pop Stars. It's got, like, famous people in it. It's not for sale.
Looks like it also has something called Police de la Mode, featured on page 34. This speaks to you.
It's where they rate different outfits famous people wear. It's kind of funny. They're kind of mean. It's about who's the most stylish. No, I don't think so.
We are not the fashion police. We're the real police.
I don't know. Frit? A 7 to 11 grocery store? I think they think that the extra T makes it funkier. It doesn't.
The story goes that normal Fritta, with 2 T's, a men's workwear shop in Vredefort, was already taken. So when Fritta Retail Inc. grew into a multinational corporation, they had to add an extra letter to avoid trademark infringement.
Okay. I'm not really supposed to be chatting to anyone, but... Reality? You mean, what reality? Economic reality, or?
She is like a student unexpectedly called upon by a teacher. Can she answer the classroom question?
I don't really know anything. I mean, I'm 15. Yeah, that's why I'm working my arse off in Frit. So I guess, like, that's economic. I don't know. What about it? We're in Frit? As mankind, or as a nation, or...
What will her essay prompt be?
We're in Revachol, like, on the Insulindian Isola. You're welcome. I don't know. Look at the clock. It's right behind you on the wall.
The clock shows the time at 10:09. The hands seem to be still. It's apparent the clock doesn't work.
When ordinary people take over the government and, demands democracy. Yeah, it happened like 50 years ago or so. Sorry, I'm not very good at this. At history, I mean. Our government? Or do you mean something else? Sorry, I really need to finish this article. Cool. I don't really know anything. I mean, I know it's there, but I haven't seen it, so... Not really. No. I didn't know him at all. I don't know, really long. I don't know.
No need to worry. It's just standard procedure for us to ask around. If you hear anything, let us know, okay?
Okay. Uh-huh.
Looking for something on?
These shelves are overburdened with books from the same series. You see the name Dick Mullen over and over. A couple of spook novels hide amidst all the detective books. Thrilling tales of spycraft and daring do. Crime fiction is a disgrace. An asinine misrepresentation of the physical attributes of the arduous everyday work of actual police officers. These books greatly overstate the excitement of police work, glossing over how long it takes to actually follow up on leads and eliminate dead ends. What's more, they completely ignore the psychological hardships of year after year coming into contact with people during the worst days of their lives. Not a single mention of all the stress this work creates upon the officer's family. Detective fiction just doesn't tell the truth at all. Now, would you like a list of all the books found on the shelf? You see Dick Mullen on the job. Get Me Mullen. The Stalwart Adventures of Richard P. Mullen. Dick Mullen and the Murder in the Orchard. The Sordid Affair of Dick Mullen. A killing is declared. Dick Mullen in the Murder House. The Final Case of Dick Mullen. An obvious lie. Dick Mullen in the Clock Tower. The Ordeals of Dick Mullen. Dauntless Dick. Dick Mullen's Funeral Pyre. The Murder of Dick Mullen. Oh no, turns out he faked it to solve a case. Yes, there's also The Dame Who Did It. Farewell, My Mullen. Faking death seems to be a common trope in the Mullen series. The morbid tales of Dick Mullen. A dark tide turns. Tragedy calls for Dick Mullen. Another one with fake death. And, of course, Dick Mullen, the murderer. In order to catch a murderer, Dick Mullen must become the murderer. After all this, you still haven't found the answer to the one question that matters. Who is Dick Mullen? Your quick eye notices a small caterpillar crawling across the spine of a book. The title reads, Dick Mullen and the Mistaken Identity. A worn paperback from Dick Mullen's classic Hard-Boiled Phase. The premise seems to be that Dick Mullen is framed for the murder of his best friend and has just a few days to prove his innocence. Could it be the motifs of unstable identities and shocking betrayals? Perhaps you're drawn to the dark and noirish atmosphere. Is it because the smoking dame in the slinky red dress on the cover is giving you a hard-on? Yes, it is. The bulge in your pants is embarrassingly obvious. Relax. It's not that bad. Also, this means your blood flow is returning to normal. Good news, really.
Something the matter, detective?
The lieutenant narrows his eyes and contemplates the book for a moment.
I would certainly say she fits the description, providing that's your type.
Oh, crime, robberies, murders, even sexual crimes. We're fortunate to have Dick Mullen and his stories to sort all that out. You're a police officer, apparently. You should buy all of these. They really do teach a person how to be a proper detective. Of course. Such violence and immorality. Enjoy.
You've acquired an interactable item. Investigate this item further by going to the Interact tab in your inventory.
Crime fiction. These books greatly overstate the What's more, not a single mention of all the stress this work creates upon the officers. Shelves filled. The plaque on the shelf reads, Biographies of Famous People. You see a large variety of names, none of which ring a bell. Browsing through all the books with all their names makes your head spin. None of these seem important or relevant. It's all just vapid egoism. Suddenly, a particularly odd title catches your eye. It reads, High Speed Love, the tragic true love story of Jacob Irv and Alfie Delatraz, by one Cecilia Averbrook. High Speed Love chronicles the romance between two of the finest tip-top tourney racers in history. One of them is the madcap driver, Jacob Irv. His blonde mane, graces the cover. Next to Irv's life story, you see a slim biography of an Occidental rock star called the Anti-Star. He's famous for shooting morphine into one of his eyeballs and cocaine into the other.
Party.
Next to that, Rivasholian radio personality Guillaume Bevy stands in front of a run-down drug den. He's a permanent fixture on Channel 8, reporting on real-life crime and ruining cops' days.
I really must insist you buy one of the books. Reading them is not for free. Do still browse, though, but not too long. I'm sorry, I did not mean to rush you. You are browsing. Go ahead. Take your time. Time is commerce. I would say... The Greatest Innocence. Yes, most certainly. It's an important educational tool delving into the depths of history, religion, and their relation to innocentic power. A very influential historical figure, but surely I don't have to tell you that. You're a law officer, and law officers have at least some education. The book is also very daring. The author aims to re-examine the universal understandings of the innocentic system, creating a fresh vantage point and a shift in the tired order of things. Perhaps for a layman, deep analysis is necessary to peel back the multi-layered meanings.
Do her words seem vague and abstract to you?
Certainly, it's prudent for a person to have at least an elementary understanding of history and society. Imagine the chaos we'd be in otherwise.
You feel like you should get this one. Definitely. It's important somehow. There's something personal inside. This bookstore is not strictly about crime, romance, and biographies of famous people. There's also a wide range of paranatural literature. Amidst the various books, you find one written by someone named Matthias W. Dundas. It's about wholeness, unity, balance. These three things are very important to the working class mind. The point of the book, and many others on this shelf, is to give people medicinal advice in situations where they don't have access to paid health services. It serves platitudes while also telling everyone that traditional medicine, the kind people don't have access to and which costs more than this book, is garbage and would only give you cancer anyway, without even curing your cold or anything. Wholeness, unity, balance, on the other hand, can basically take care of anything. Though it is important to note, when it's up to your mind to heal yourself, then it's because of your mind that you're ill in the first place. The book features chapters on topics such as how to find magnesium. It even lists plants you can harvest magnesium from. How to continue drinking if you're an alcoholic who has destroyed his liver. There's even a chapter on the ancient Seraïs tradition of using duck gallbladder, preservatives, to treat and prevent sexually transmitted diseases. Pre and post factum apply. Nothing worth buying. Amidst the various books, you find one written by someone named These Three Things Are Very Important. The point of the book, various paranatural...
Sir, please, no browsing in that shelf. That wisdom is not for free. I can't have you end up, like, opening a police store next door and stealing my customers. Oh no!
Several maps have been attached to a bulletin board hidden inside the alcove. They're held up by small pins. The board has come loose from one corner. The maps look old and faded. Your eye catches a map of Insulinda, a map of Revachol, and a map of Martinaise. This large map displays archipelagos. You see a constellation of small dots on the light blue emptiness of the Insulindic Ocean. The largest in the northeast is La Caillou. You are here. Another far away in the southwest, Seminese Islands, Ile de Fantôme. Ozon, Laurentide, Fas a la Mer, Archipelagos, North Arcade Islands, all just specks of dust on the vastness of the Insulindic. On the edges of the map, the color fades into a blur of dotted lines, black and white, disintegrating into mathematics. In the northeast, a dust mite stands on the north coast of Caillou in a bookstore. It's you. You can, on Caillou, Revachon, a single black star, on Ozon, Fondelier, and Vilmandu, on Archipelagos, Croyan Moran, Villiers, on Seminine, Olduvai, and on Laurentide, Deora of the Seven Seas. 850 million people live on these little dots, an oceanic world of culture and commerce torn apart by history. The ocean breaks apart into a tangle of cosines and azimuths, all pointing into pale nothingness. Windy is the north azimuth. Grad is the northeast azimuth. Samara is the east azimuth. Seo is the west azimuth. Isolas, they're called. Connections to other worlds, words past the Insulindian, unknown to you. You only know you've never been there. You have little idea what they are. Distant stars, gods, but looking at them makes you feel almost non-existent. Whatever they are, the Isolas are immeasurably large compared to you, and very, very far away. Perhaps they are gods, gods of distance and outer dust. The north coast of a verdant island is shattered by the delta of a river. It is the River Esperance. Countless bridges put the shards back together, connecting city blocks to river islands. La Delta says a great artificial heart in the center, teeming with life forms and construction. To the east, rolling hillsides, Le Jardin, Stella Marie, the suburbs of Saint-Baptiste, swallowed up into the megacity. They sound rich to you. This is Revachol East. Hudon, it's somewhere to live, not bad. Then there's Jamrock. It's bad. People shouldn't live there, but they do. Then Forburg. It's almost as bad and much larger. Then Coal City. It's the worst. You feel you're just west of Coal City, somewhere above Jamrock and close to Coal City. It's not really a map. It's a tourist thing. A picture postcard with buildings on it, drawn from an isometric perspective. A date in the upper right corner says 48. Still, it's detailed. Could be pretty useful for scouting ahead. You see the jagged boxes of an industrial harbor, even the whirling in rags there.
I'm sorry, officer. The map of Martinez is the only one available. The other two are not for sale anymore. And besides, you could scarcely afford them. They're quite valuable, though they might not look it. The map of Martinez is 90 cents, though. That old thing? It's an out-of-date map of a tourist location that never was nor came to be. From when some design studio people tried to spruce the place up 4 or 5 years ago. They also renovated the horse statue, set up those coin-operated viewers, and designed the new street lamps.
The place does not look like a successful tourist trap, does it?
They didn't get that far, for some reason. A shame the project never got going. Would be nice if someone fixed Martinez up. All these ruins are bad for business. Always good to be informed of your surroundings.
A small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages. A lot of shelf space seems to be taken up by Wirral-related merchandise.
Wonderful board games, sir. The Viticulturist is a classic for sure, or perhaps you'd like Archipelagos of Insulinda, a very educational game for those interested in geography. Raubritta is a fun game of economic competition, but can get quite intense after a while. We have games for the whole family. You can play with your children. Don't be so hard on yourself, sir. You just need to clean up a bit. And technically, friends are a bit like family. For playing with friends, I'd recommend Suzerainty. It's a civilization building game where you build a civilization, then set off to brutally colonize and repress other civilizations. It'll cost 12 rial. Lousy auras there. No, role-playing games are popular among those types. You know, who are into those kind of things. Personally, I don't like it. Not at all. I've heard they turn people into occult enthusiasts. That they have rituals where they try to summon entities. Highly immoral stuff. You can still buy them, though.
An endless variety of source books, lore books, and codices litter the table. The topmost book is titled Welkin Compendium, 2nd edition. There's also a large hardbound tome with intricate cover art, The Hunters of Katawak, Boreal Creature Compendium, and a Pick Your Path adventure game book titled Tales of Wirral, Cavern of Velkrag. Books in a board game section? Who wants to read books? There's a box that says Wirral, 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplements Module. The side panel notes, a fantastique adventure board game, new maps and miniatures. A sticker on it displays 25 rial. That price is steep, but then it's the 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplement, so it makes sense. The worn map features the patchwork grid of the streets of Martinez, with directions to appropriately touristy locations. Year 48 resides on the upper right corner. Your finger moves through the various streets, across Rue de Saint-Ghislain and Rue Saint-Sipar, over Saint-Brun and Martinez North, finally coming to a halt on the spot where you are currently standing, although the map gives no such indication itself.
For a more detailed view of the map, go to your journal and select the Map tab.
In your hand, you hold Dick Mullen and the Mistaken Identity. The brittle paperback feels fragile to the touch. The cover features a pastiche of different scenes. In the foreground, a man in a dark overcoat clutches a pistol to his chest. Rising up behind him are two silhouettes wrapped in a passionate embrace. The tagline reads, Detective Dick Mullen must prove his innocence after an old friend is murdered by someone who looks just like Dick Mullen. That seems to sum up the premise nicely.
Are you really reading that, detective? Good luck finding it. He's not much of a character, I think you'll find. Just a stand-in for the reader.
The point is for the reader to feel like they're solving the crime, along with Dick Mullen. A crude narrative convention, but no less effective for it. The story opens with a knock at the door. Detective Dick Mullen is greeted by an old friend, Charlie Spillane, who's come to Mullen to ask a favor on this dark and cold night. Spillane needs Mullen to drive him in from Vespa to a small town along the Elysium coast. Despite his friend's apparent agitation, Mullen does as he's asked, then returns home where he passes out drunk, as he does most nights. 2 days later, Mullen is arrested by the Vespa police and charged with the murder of Charlie Spillane. At his interrogation, Mullen learns that Charlie Spillane was shot in a bar in the very town Mullen dropped him off in by a man matching Mullen's description. Desperate to clear his name, Mullen manages to convince the Vespa police to release him for 3 days so that Mullen may solve his friend's murder and prove his innocence.
What's the matter, detective?
The lieutenant shrugs, resigned to the idea that his profession will rarely, if ever, be accurately represented in art and literature. Of course, Mullen didn't do it. That's the whole premise of the book. Anyway, Mullen returns to the seaside bar where Spillane was murdered and meets a beautiful, mysterious woman named Diana Deneuve. Deneuve reveals that she was Spillane's lover and that he was mixed up with a local amphetamine smuggling operation. As soon as Mullen begins pulling at strings, the whole conspiracy begins to unravel. Not only is the local police captain in on the amphetamine ring, so is the son of a powerful politician and a strung-out art collector named Torvald, each of whom has his own reasons for wanting Spillane dead. Outwardly, the old police captain is a real law and order crypto-fascist, a barrel-chested man who's beaten his share of suspects to pulp. But he's also dirty and increasingly paranoid that someone's going to expose his role in the drug ring. He would certainly have the motive and the means, but the captain walks with a noticeable limp from an old war injury. Is it possible that he was able to conceal it long enough to commit the murder? A typical privileged twat. In all likelihood, he's just in over his head. He does bear a personal grudge against Spillane, though, a former prosecutor who nearly brought down his father's administration. The kid doesn't exactly have Dick Mullen's manly build, but he is the correct height, and while interrogating him at his home, Mullen did notice a certain overcoat that looks suspiciously like his own. Torvald, the art collector, is a strung-out mess. Frankly, it's hard to imagine him holding a pistol steady enough to actually hit someone, let alone plug them 3 times in the chest the way Spillane did. That said, Torvald and Spillane have a long history, and while interrogating him, Mullen discovers that Torvald was once involved with Diana Deneuve. Could it be that this is all over a sordid love triangle? One evening, Diana Deneuve comes to Mullen's hostel room in tears. The two of them drink half a bottle of vodka, and soon they're seeking comfort in each other's arms. Yes, comfort and pleasure. The warmth of another human's touch. The burning taste of liquor on her full, sweet lips. As the two lovers share a post-coital cigarette, Diana Deneuve turns to Mullen and says, "By the way, Dick, there was something else I meant to tell you. Always aim for the center of mass." Whatever it is, Mullen never hears the words. A blow to the base of his skull knocks him out cold instantly. When Mullen comes to, Deneuve is dead on the hostel bed next to him. To make matters worse, his clothes are covered with her blood. Mullen trashes his blood-stained clothes and flees the hostel, knowing it's only a matter of hours before the cops discover Deneuve's body, if they haven't been tipped off already. The heat is on. If Dick Mullen can't solve both murders before the cops catch up to him, he's going away for life. Can you solve the case before the cops close in? What is it, Detective? It's a dangerous line of work, but somebody has to do it. That's why Dick Mullen never lets anyone get too close. There was never a time when he wasn't a detective. He was born a detective. For a moment, you cease to read the story on the page and see the book for what it is. A collection of brittle, cheaply printed pages held together by glue made from the hooves of horses.
Lisa, you will not eat our meat, but you will turn our hooves to glue.
You won't find the answers you're looking for here, in other words. Is it really so evil, Detective? Like what? Do you even have those? You haven't been treating the lieutenant much like a friend, though, have you? But then, what does this book know? It's just a... So, who did it, Detective? Who killed Charlie Spillane and Deanna Deneuve? Could be. Who knows? Only one way to find out. You begin furiously flipping through pages. Even as you know these books follow a series of well-worn tropes, you find yourself completely engrossed. You're turning pages so fast, you don't even notice the ancient spine coming unglued. You try to grab the pages as they come loose, but your fingers aren't quick enough. They're gone. Dozens of pages scatter across the floor. The last fifth or so of the book seems to have been lost. It's possible that you could gather and reassemble the pages, but it would take way too long.
Ah, yes. The problem with mass-market paperbacks. They are not made to last. Perhaps this is a sign that you should get back to solving your own murder, huh, Detective?
In your hand, you hold 4/5 of Dick Mullen and the mistake.
Welcome to Crime, Romance and Biographies of Famous People. My name is Plaisance. Be welcome, and please take responsibility for the energy you bring into this space. Sir, don't be ridiculous. I certainly will not give you money. I would be doing you a grave psychic disfavour. One has to earn one's success, even if one is a police officer. Handouts are nothing but manipulation. All they do is make you dependent.
Certainly there are good things to be said about dependence.
Oh my, of course. What a man.
Scream!
I am the proudest owner of our little shop of culture. Oh, I'm very sorry, sir. Some of these old paperbacks just don't have the durability. I would be happy to sell you another one, but unfortunately, it's the last copy we had in stock. Goodness, you were already doing good, browsing the shelves. Why'd you stop? Don't you feel compelled? Go, go! Get back there. The books await you. Everything is on the shelves. Take a look yourself. The shelves compel you, don't they?
She smiles and nods, seemingly relieved.
Annette, yes, my daughter. I hope she wasn't slacking off again with her nose in science fiction. Tell me, was she at her post doing her job like a proper girl? Wonderful! Did you talk to her? Great! On a scale of 1 to 10, how compelled were you to buy books after talking with her? My precious, her dedication brings joy to my heart. If you have children, I hope they turn out as great as my Annette. God! I've told her not to do that. It's such a disgusting habit. She'll get over it. Anxiety is a part of life. She can, if she has enough willpower. This is what's called growing pains. Life isn't easy. Life doesn't give breaks.
Come on, ma'am. It's obvious she can't do anything about it. You are placing an unnecessary burden on a young child.
She stands stiff and severe, silently fuming. 10 or so seconds pass without change. She's looking for one, but there simply aren't any good arguments for being an asshole.
Oh no. Hold on. I need to invite her inside and apologise. She must be freezing out there. There. I don't know what to say to you. My husband, he tries to teach me business lessons. I have what my mother called a dull mind. All this stress. Yes, my husband is a successful entrepreneur east of the river. If only he were more involved in the business we're running up here. No matter. Soon we'll both be off for Grand Couronne. It's a proper place to live. One of the most peaceful neighbourhoods east of Jamrock. You may know it for its massive housing projects. Most of the buildings are empty at the moment. It's a great opportunity to get ahead of the crowds. Better times ahead for sure. He made the initial investment. Since then, he's been what you might call a silent partner.
Super silent, almost inaudibly so.
Yes, I'm afraid so. A real treat she is. It would be nice if she had... No, we couldn't have afforded more children, really. Not in this economy.
A glimmer of sadness blinks through the well-crafted exterior.
We're quite busy people, you know, my husband and I. Quite busy. Children are a lot of work. You don't look like a father, so I don't expect you to understand. I'm sorry. I'm sure you do understand. She's been too busy helping me here, so she studied at home this trimester. This is a temporary solution, of course. I assure you, I of all people understand the importance of education. She will be back in school the moment the store takes off.
And hell freezes over? Never mind. It's not a good topic to get into. The woman looks aloof, her features much softer. Occasionally she glances at her daughter's silhouette.
I'm sorry, sir. I can't talk right now. I'm very busy with my homework. I have so much homework now.
Out of the rain and into the gutter.
Math. It's really difficult. Like, really. They say you need it to get rich. Better than standing outside in the cold, I guess. Oh, I found something while you were away. I thought this would fit you. Like, thanks for helping out. Not me. The city, I mean. Like a detective does. Just what Dick Mullen would ask. I got it from behind the curtains. I'm not really supposed to go there. Maybe. It's the hat Dick Mullen wears all the time. You'll look way more serious with that. Right, I have to get back to my homework now, before Mum notices. Which book was it, sir? Oh, I'm very sorry, sir. I haven't read that one yet. I wish I could help you.
You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another room. A strange cage-like trinket dangles from the curtains.
Excuse me, officer. The back room is strictly for employees only. Nothing. Now please go back to browsing the books. Don't you feel compelled to look at the books? The books are all you care about.
She speaks almost as if she's trying to put a spell on you. Oddly enough, the more she tries to draw you away from the curtains, the more alluring they become. You see some kind of charm, an irregular polyhedron assembled from bones, sticks, and straw. Inside, a disturbing fish head with empty eye sockets stares at you. This is a traditional Seminese ward, meant to provide protection against ill luck, bad dreams, curses, and other supernatural scourges. Inhabitants of Île de Fantôme, the Seminine Islands down south, Aside from poking at it suspiciously, there is nothing else to do with the fish head charm at this time. The curtains remain shut before you. Just as you're about to pull apart the curtains, the petrified voice of the shop owner cries out once more.
Sir, don't touch that. I told you it's off limits for the customers. Parapsychologically speaking, we're done if you decide to open them. I won't be held responsible for the consequences. It's too dangerous.
She looks away, mumbling. Why is everyone always messing with the curtains? Why can't they just buy books like normal people?
No, it's just a storeroom for the employees, I told you. Now please step away from the curtains. You do? My God, even more reasons not to mess with the curtains. Just step away, dear sir. Why? It's not like anyone was killed there. I am sorry, I don't mean to be so impolite. Just please don't go there. I can't allow that. You'll only make things worse and unleash the powers.
The curtains do seem frail suddenly, not robust enough to contain a slippery darkness.
No! Please just talk to me, officer. Come here and let's talk this through before you decide.
Talking is always good. Go see what the curtains, tattered with age and covered in dust, hang before you, as if taunting you.
Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime. I already told you, it's just a storage room for employees. I don't understand why it's so important to you. Just let it go, officer. Go buy some goddamn books. You're supposed to be drawn to the books.
She recites it like it's a poem, or like she's playing a role she's grown tired of. She's so tense, it's a miracle she hasn't snapped in half yet.
A spell? As if. This place doesn't need any spells or hoodoo mumbo jumbo. This place has wonderful energy. Okay, fine. It's just because this place is cursed, just like everyone said. They don't call it the doomed commercial area for nothing. Are you happy now, officer? Happy that you've ruined everything?
Host of hosts, she prays. Guard me and my honest business venture from the curse that lurks behind the curtains.
The curse is so much worse than you could imagine. It's a disease, eating at the very foundation. It's the curse of financial distress, of ruin and bankruptcy. Everyone knows that all the previous companies in this building have sooner or later declared bankruptcy, and their malicious spirits are still here, feeding off bad business practices and disappointing income statements. There's something wrong with this building, I can tell you. Ever since I arrived, I've sensed an eerie lingering presence, as if I was unwanted here. It's not good to talk about the curse, not in detail. The negativism, it's dangerous. Talking about the void wraiths angers them.
Wow. Void raves. You have new words.
Yes, I've contacted numerous parapsychologists and even a pair of Simonese mediators. They provided me with the wards. The wards help to keep the doom at bay and protect us against the darkness that lies further in the building, even though now I fear it's not enough. Oh, this? No, it's a special Himian amulet, blessed by desert pygmy shamans. with a spell of compulsion. It's to compel people to buy books. There are numerous spells cast throughout the store. I had the books anointed with a different inducement spell, for example. It's guaranteed to boost sales 15%.
Desert pygmy shamans. That sounds like a rather questionable way to describe a group of people.
Most certainly not. I don't want anyone who's not familiar with the psychic arts to get involved in this mess. Stay away.
My liege, you know what this case calls for? A para-detective.
Okay, but please, only a few questions. You wouldn't want to disturb the spirits.
The woman looks aloof, her features much softer. Occasionally she glances at her daughter's silhouette. Slither up to her, you silver-tongued fiend. Show her what world-class perfidy looks like.
Are you sure? Don't think I haven't seen charlatans before. You're no para-detective. You look nothing like one. And you're clearly a drinker. Pardon me for being so blunt, but...
You look like one. The lieutenant keeps his usual stony calm. He silently picks out his notebook.
How do you know all this?
Here we go.
I should have realized. A pattern lies within the fabric. The hand of fate guides us. Our meeting couldn't have been mere chance. But I am not the only one at risk. I have to think of my daughter. You are certain you can help us? Keep us safe? I can't allow any collateral damage to hit us.
I can assure you he is a police officer. Very knowledgeable.
If you promise, good officer, then you might be our last hope. Do you swear it? Thank you, sir. There's one more thing I haven't told you about yet. The entity.
Do not act surprised. You know of these things, sire.
You have? The entity takes the form of a woman, a witch probably. I've suspected that she must be connected to the curse ever since I first saw her. Did you know that she lives inside the chimney? Yes, that chimney is part of the building's central furnace, and it's enormous. She has barricaded herself behind some metal security curtains. God knows what she's doing there. Some unnatural magic, I assume. You should go find the entity and ask what happened to all the companies in the building. What is the source of this curse? Here's the key to the warded door behind the curtains. Take it. Oh, and please do return to me after you've looked round. I'm quite anxious to know what she has to say about the curse. What you discover in there.
What you discover? Probably just some office space. Don't be scared. You see a set of You see a dimly lit room full of dusty furniture and trash. A doorway stands in the back, covered in dozens of scary little Seminese wards, your shadow looming over it like an omen.
Oh!
A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of Seminese trinkets and charms. It appears to be locked. Only an echo. No one is there. A hollowed-out, dark echo.
That's so good. That's awesome.
After exerting some force, you manage to turn the key. It's eerily silent. The door slides slightly open, letting a draft of cold air into the room.
Detective, you're the one in charge. What is this place? Yes, but no one's been here in ages. I doubt the electricity still works. Good thing we have a flashlight on us.
Some specks of dust shimmer in a faint beam of daylight falling from the window. Other than that, the room is dark. An eerie feeling rises in your chest.
Yes, because it's closed. No need to look for supernatural explanations where a banal one will do. Now let's move on, shall we?
A barbell lies on the floor. The color, it's 60 kilograms. Your triceps hum at the sight of these weights. Show the world what kind of beast it's dealing with. Lift them. There are no collars on the barbell. This is a safety hazard.
You're right. The weight may fall off. Better not touch it then. It would be a violation of EPIS safety regulations if the gym was still operating, but it isn't. No one's supposed to come here anymore.
If I become a billionaire, that's the name of my fucking perfume. Leather and sweat.
Your flashlight slides over an old green chalkboard covered in scribbles, sketches, and schemes like some ancient cave mural. Some of the writing has faded with age, but you can still make out sections here and there. Photos and drawings have been pinned to the board. These lithe, pointy-eared creatures appear to be different types of welkins. You make out autumnal candle welkins casting wax-based magic. Translucent welkins with organs shining under their skin, and even ether welkins hailing from the vast emptiness of sidereal space. You should adopt one of those welkins as your persona. No longer a mere man, but a welkin. One of the welkins, towering among the rest, appears to be different, however. It's Vara Hamira, a high welkin, his face white and scarred like cracked marble. This is clearly a welkin supremacist. The note says, all non-welkin races will be purged. The Haldor, the Twarg, the humans, and even headless men, all of them, purged. Imagine a world filled only with welkin, green welkin, dread welkin, and the high welkin to rule them all.
An inordinate amount of time has gone into drawing these little welkin creatures. Some people really like building a world, I think, even if it's just for a game. This looks like concept art for a project. It's not really real. Political commentary. That one has a great beard too. Just look at those details. So much effort.
The photo collage depicts barren, icy landscapes wrapped in perpetual night. You see permafrost and glacial landforms, dead trees grown in under the snow. Entire oceans have been frozen from shore to shore. There are pictures of settlements on dried-up riverbeds, abandoned in a storm. Animal corpses in the dark, carcasses and bones. You see primitive oil rigs built into glaciers, boreal dvorg, yurts under the snow, great mammoth-like beasts of burden. Albeit dark and cold, this vision also feels cozy in its own way, like eggnog or morphine, a much-needed respite from our own world. A pinned postcard reads, "The heat death scenario. A desperate fight for geothermal energy engulfs the world as Wirral becomes untethered from its sun, drifting through the universe." This is a monthly calendar from the year 50. Cryptic words like sprint, daily minimi, and GPI span the marker-drawn grid, the grand scheme of production and money. It looks a bit like an academic calendar, only much more brutal. Minimi stands for a mini meeting. It's part of a bigger framework for managing work called RUN. Station 41 tried to implement it a few years ago, but failed. As time goes on, the numbers in the boxes grow rarer and rarer. The board becomes an empty snowfield in the final days. Only failure and regret dwell in this region.
Looks like they didn't make it.
A note in the bottom left corner of the chalkboard says, "See the prod schedule filament for details." The handwriting is only partly legible, but you can still make out 3 slogans: "Call in, tune out," "Wirral untethered," and "Heat death of the universe." The full text reads, "Heat death of the universe is the new black." Another note says, "The biggest advancement in role-playing systems since the 30s. This appears to be some kind of machine with a cube-shaped heart and a wired framework. The keyboard has a rectangular on-off button. A piece of paper still hangs from the printer.
The radio computer. Just sitting here without anyone inside.
What he means is that these things cost money. Why would anyone just leave it behind? This is the Ream Civic radio computer, model RC5120, equipped with a Feld mainframe and a Ream-compatible printer.
We have one of these down at the station, but I never really learned how to use it.
The machine lights up like some prehistoric animal stirring from its slumber, revealing fluorescent play and print keys on the keyboard. The hatch on the machine's central compartment is wide open. It's empty like a beehive without its brood. Some cables have been left dangling.
This is where the memory should go.
Nothing happened. Something's missing. There's no tape in the player. Nothing happens. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. Cut like a smooth draw, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking. A bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a soft hum. The sound of static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned hall, until a voice speaks out, crackling and old, cutting into the air.
Good afternoon. Fortress accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. This is East Insulindian Repeat Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule? The filament you have inserted into the reader. Yes. Is that the production schedule? Good. Please repeat the password.
Password? Of course it would have a password. That's why there's a human administrator involved.
No.
A hint system is not part of the protocol for repeater stations.
Received. I will register this login attempt.
Don't worry. Passwords have a way of turning up sooner or later.
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Yes, I am alive. I am 74 years old and my name is Yvonne.
She repeats passwords. Programming people are all paranoid.
They are merely cautious. It's my job to protect their filaments as a password repeater at the East Insulindian Station. I work as a repeater at the East Insulindian Repeater Station. It's my job to know where you are, Fortress Accident. As for me, well, I am sitting in my cubicle, surrounded by a wall of radios. Now, please tell me if there's anything else I can do, Fortress Accident. Thank you, and goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine on the keyboard. Nothing happens. An iron safety curtain curves before your eyes, folded like a bellows. It covers half the room, blocking the way into a colossal industrial chimney. This must be where the entity lives. What an odd thing to do. Nothing happens. Still nothing. No one's home. Those curtains prove to be surprisingly sturdy. Your fist hurts now. If this is really an entrance to the chimney, then there must be a furnace somewhere as well. Maybe there's another way to...
Can you please try to refrain from attacking random things? Thanks. In any case, there's no way we can get in right now.
This old fireplace is covered in lines drawn in blue and red marker, the mesh spreading over the stone like blood vessels on alabaster skin. It looks ghostly and strangely ancient. The whole thing resembles Kadran mosaic tiles. Very pedantic. History classes, students with their textbooks open, studying the roots of our civilization. Those aquarelle blue tiles looked beautiful in the sun. Radio frequencies, it seems. UKV 123.6, UKV 123.7, UKV 123.9. Some written notes, too, sparse and cryptic. Unclear. It looks like a cardiovascular system split into veins and capillaries. Very advanced. You think so? The web is comprised of radio stations, all lead back to one red heart, titled the Game Master Frequency. A note says, this one can listen in on any station it wants. They must have had massive airwidth. These things don't come cheap. Someone very important. A conductor for the hundreds of story threads that pass through the Game Master's frequency. Whoever decides to call in to a call-in station, it looks like. A list of names under the stations suggests people across 6 Isolas would be playing. Muindi, Insulinda, Kotla, Grad, Samara, and even Il Mara. There's no way a little basement studio working here could pull anything like this off.
My God. It's as if the less money they had, the more ambitious their project became. Exactly. This schedule, I know doom when I see it. The company was running out of funding.
Nothing. It's just lines on marble. An echo from times long gone. No one has used the fireplace in ages.
Okay. What do you think is going on with that computer, chalkboard, and fireplace? No, that's not it. I think...
Like he's ready to lay out a fine theory, crafted together like a puzzle box.
It looks like one of those popular pen and paper role-playing games, only these people were trying to automate it, make it work on radio computers. Through call-in stations, none of the players have to be physically present. Anyone in the world can participate in the game, as long as they have a two-way radio. Then there's the Game Master frequency that listens in on the smaller call-in stations. I think that was supposed to coordinate the stories, functioning as a master of ceremonies of sorts.
Coordinating so many games would take a whole switchboard of people, possibly divided into sub-frequencies.
Not to my knowledge. They make automated games in Grad, Messina, Königstein. You know, places with industry.
Not in Revachol West, among the ruins.
But I don't think anyone has attempted to create an inter-isolary game before. We just don't have the technology. Indeed, those Welkins are a dead giveaway. Role-playing people love that stuff. The world looks like a modified version of the WeWorld board game, with hit death thrown in.
Super cool. Someone should give them millions of real immediately. This game is too good to be left unfinished.
No idea. They stopped filling out the schedule on the chalkboard. Indeed, it's ambitious and untethered from reality, but... It's too late for that, I'm afraid. Okay, let's keep moving.
You see a terrifying ice bear with a strange compartment in its belly. The door is covered in frost and the bear's eyes are glowing red. The bear looks oddly realistic. Is it taxidermy? The lieutenant doesn't answer. His eyes are glued to the animal. A sharp slice of light shines out from its mysterious belly door. A gust of freezing cold air rushes to greet you. You hear a low grumble as the bear regulates itself. This is the inside of a refrigerator. The lieutenant takes a peek inside. His hand has found the holster of his gun.
Of course, just a giant ice bear-shaped fridge. Let's take a look inside.
The shelves are empty. All you see are crumpled ice cream wrappers with the brand name, Revachol Ice City. A handwritten note has been attached to the door. The fridge is huge. You pocket the note and the little fridge magnets keeping it on the door. A friendly cartoon bear smiles back at you from a glossy cellophane wrapper. It looks nothing like the fridge. The paper still smells of vanilla and chocolate.
Good question. It looks like an ice cream fridge. I know. What an unfortunate marketing choice. What is even worse, the bear is still costing them money to this day.
The fridge buzzes with energy. The electricity bill on this thing must be catastrophic. A few bricks have fallen off, revealing a compartment behind the wall. It's too dark to see in.
Seems like an old bunker from the Revolutionary period. Look at all those rifles. Must be an old weapons cache. There is, yes. And there also appears to be something inside the hole. Interesting. Do you want to...
Your hand reaches deep into darkness and spiderwebs. Rummaging around, you find rusty rifles hidden away.
Are these any good?
Most of them are rusty and inoperable, like the rest, but one catches your eye. A bolt-action model with a fine wood stock.
That's a rare sight. Seems to no longer be functional, but still a beautiful thing in its own way. It means there are firearms, albeit inoperable, still lying around in Martinez. It's an interesting coincidence, I would say. Might come in useful in the future.
The note is written with a blue pencil on a piece of lined office paper. The kitchen magnets have left spots on its surface.
Does it say anything interesting?
This is tangential at best, but the lieutenant's detective instinct is still active. Someone has scribbled, S. I can't believe the off-site copy is still here. The illiterate ginger kid keeps stealing stuff from the studio, so I had to hide it somewhere safe. You'll find the filament memory with the off-site copy in the frozen ice cream maker. Please take it home, ASAP. It's important. I'd do it myself if I lived in a civilized place with a freezer. Take care, Sully Soif.
Looks like someone from that radio game company upstairs. I'm a little surprised they just left their property lying here. That's a plausible hypothesis. It belongs inside a radio computer, storing its memory. It's like a tape. You listen to disco tapes, right? It's like one of your disco tapes, only for a computer. Some local miscreant, probably. There are tons of them running around in Martinez, ready to stir up trouble. We usually dispatch our junior officers to deal with them. I don't know. I assume it's somewhere close to the Ice Bear fridge.
A few bricks have fallen off, revealing a compartment behind. This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. It has. Turning the crank feels oddly satisfying, like stirring your childhood dreams. In the distance, you hear water dripping. You slip your fingers under the frozen lid, but the ice is too cold for you to get a good grip. A pry bar would come in. No, this is going to need something else, some kind of super pry bar. Don't even try to open it with a regular pry bar. You're just wasting your time. If you want to try again, then you need to have the pry bar in your hand, detective.
Equip the pry bar by going to the Tools tab in your inventory. From there, you can equip it to a held slot.
This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner on top and an electric freezer that appears to be frozen shut. Two cables are plugged into the breaker box. The red one leads to the Ice Bear fridge and the black one to the ice cream maker nearby. Two cables are plugged into the breaker box. The red one leads something close to you, dies.
Why did you do that?
The lieutenant raises his brows, but doesn't say anything. The electric distribution board now has one cable missing. This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner and an electric freezer. The ice around it slowly melting. Give up. You'll never find the answer. There's no other copy of Dick Mullen and the Mistaken Identity here. Because that's how the world works. Some stories never get finished. You shouldn't expect there to be a tidy, satisfying ending. There isn't. If only you had more time, more resources. Who knows what you could have come up with. Maybe if there had been more money and less speed. Or more speed. Or that, yes. Either way, you might have been able to come up with an answer, but not like this. Hang on, you can do this. Use your imagination. You know who the suspects are. Just make it up. So, who killed Charlie Spillane and Deanna Denuva, detective? Just fucking pick one. It makes sense. Junkies and art collectors both need a steady stream of income. And what better way to generate income than murdering a couple of people? Well done, ace detective. You put a dangerous junkie and art collector behind bars. Too Only the red cable is plugged. An electric sizzle. The room is slightly quieter now. This orange machine is dead still. The bear's eyes are dead and empty. Ice inside the fridge. A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black.
Looks like it. Looks like an old central furnace used to heat the building. It's connected to the chimney. No one has used it in ages. No signs of any recent fire. Only dead rats.
It's dark and grimy here. In the darkness you can hear chatter. It's coming from above. A voice or several voices talking to each other. Near the smoke chamber, upstairs. The echo is so prominent, it's impossible to discern what the voices are saying or what's producing them.
What are you doing? Wait, really? Maybe it's coming from behind those safety curtains we saw upstairs.
A lush layer of coal now covers your skin, sinking in. Maybe you could paint something with this coal. Leave a cave painting for future archaeologists. No, that would be stupid.
You're right. The rooms do look like they're connected. But malignant entities don't exist. At least not the supernatural kind.
Always has to be the skeptic, this man. Something breaks loose in you. A mighty bellow echoes throughout the chimney's depths. The chatter of tiny voices above suddenly cease. Then,
Hello? Hello? Did you say anything? I can't hear you. Please come upstairs. There's a safety curtain on the second floor. I'll open it.
you hear a low rumble upstairs. The sound of a curtain being pulled aside.
After you, officer.
A hollow ring echoes through the furnace. Your toe hurts.
Hello, I'm Nia. Did you try knocking on my window? I must have missed you. I've been listening to my Melius. So what kind of die are you looking for?
She's got a direct view to the backyard. You should interrogate her about the lynching.
Yes, Amelia is like a call-in station. You need a two-way radio to access one. That's why I have these. Mostly, they just teach you to swear in different languages. But some of the stations can be quite interesting. I was so absorbed, I must have missed you knocking. Then how did you get inside? By the south entrance? You know what? It doesn't even matter. What matters is that you're finally here. Let's talk dice. Did you have something specific in mind? I'm a novelty dice maker. Tell me the name of your role-playing system and I'll make the die you need. That's why you're here, yes?
Role-playing games? You know the one made by Fortress Accident. Does that count?
Very good. My rate is 10 real per set, unless you want something really unusual. Take a look around and see if there's any particular stone you want to use.
It almost looks as if the stones and dice are a natural part of the room, growing out of the shells like stalagmites. No falsehoods are present. She's a novelty dice maker and doesn't have anything to hide. Ask what you need.
How did I become one? It was a business decision. I was a regular jeweler at first, but that's an unfocused field with too much competition. Some of my friends were role players. They asked me to make some polyhedral dice out of cobalt. That was my first order. I grew it from there. Not especially. I like working with rare materials and a steady pay. And role players as customers? They're nice people.
Some of those nice people have big bucks to spend on novelty items.
We're inside the chimney of an old central furnace. It's strange, I know. But when I arrived here, all the other rooms were taken, so I had to build myself a makeshift home. Besides, I don't really have to pay any rent here, so that's a plus.
Creative.
When she arrived here, there was no room anywhere else. She must have known the other businesses.
I've heard the stories, but I don't think those stories are true. Plaisance, the bookshop lady? I've heard that her business is doing rather well. Have the energies spared her somehow? Oh, right. But it's not just the bookstore that's still up and running. What about the whirling in racks? Some people say it's part of the building complex. You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the east of the Commerce Central project. And then there is me. I've been here for 14 years, selling novelty dice to role-playing enthusiasts. Not exactly a million real business idea, yet somehow I've survived despite the talk of malicious energies. Strange, isn't it?
Maybe it's just because she's so talented that she's been able to woo the curse.
Malignant entity? What does that even mean? Some kind of sorceress? What about you, officer? Do you think I'm the malignant entity? Is it now? I've always thought it's a rather mundane and boring place with no supernatural surprises in sight. Well, if you ever find a way to explain all those inconsistencies in the curse, let me know.
That's all she has to say on the subject. She's been thorough and truthful, as far as we can see.
More or less. Are you interested in anyone specific?
Oh, quite a lot of them spring to mind.
Yes, I think it was called Androgynous Orlando or something similar. They weren't a big hit around here. Turns out that working class men don't like genderless haircuts. They're scared of that word.
A bit of experimenting every now and then isn't bad. It's not about the haircut. It's about the confidence.
Me neither. I just want it off my face. It wasn't merely a gym, it was Artemiteps Boxing Club, a community project created to steer at-risk youth away from drugs and crime. A kind man from Zemsk. I heard he had some trouble with the law when he was younger, and that's why he wanted to start the gym, as his way of giving back. It didn't. If anything, it made the youth situation in Martinez even worse. At some point, someone started a rumor that the punching bag downstairs was full of amphetamines.
It's not really full of that. No one would store their drugs like that.
Eventually, the coalition took away the funding and the club went bankrupt. This was a few years ago. It's gotten much more peaceful around the plaza ever since. Oh, this one's a mess. There used to be a company that promised to repair windows 24 hours a day. What could go wrong with this one, right? Turns out, the business was actually set up as a front for an illicit group that was producing snuff milius. Who would have guessed?
What's the snuff milieu?
And they never cleaned up the debris either. Now it's just littering the hallway and I have no idea how to get rid of it on my own. It's a sub-Rosa radio station that broadcasts real murders with real victims. Some people pay good money to get off on it.
Nothing changes in her tone as she says that, as if it's just another piece of information to lay out for the world.
Don't worry, the ICP has a separate division that deals exclusively with unlicensed sub-Roses. This isn't our problem.
Good luck with that. It's not easy catching those perpetrators. You mean Mr. Fabron, the taxidermist? No, he mostly just did drugs. Anything else? There used to be a fashion atelier here, but I have forgotten the head designer's name. They were doing well for a couple of years, until the insect rights activists came. The atelier produced a certain collection that used chitin among the materials. Apparently chitin is made in the Occident, where it's extracted from beetle wings. And you know how all kinds of political movements are big in the Occident. The activists shut down the biggest chitin supplier, which of course caused the price to skyrocket. And, naturally, all the most fashionable tastemakers refused to be seen in chitin from then on. The atelier went bankrupt before they could finish the collection. Actually, insects do have brains, but yes, I understand what you're saying. I think the protesters took it a little too far.
As she shifts around, you notice several dead flies on the windowsill in front of her. Legs up. They're not moving.
Anything else? They were made by a company called Slipstream. After they pivoted from making rotor blades to skis, their chief executive took off on a vacation with all their money. Honestly, I think it's quite funny. I think he's still sending out holiday transmissions from Tulula or Tiumotiri or Hashtkor or wherever he is. The usual, I imagine. That he's been thinking up all kinds of new business plans and can't wait to get started on them just as soon as he returns.
Men like that are a curse.
Sure, but Slipstream is history now. All their remaining assets got seized by the bailiffs in 47. I have no idea why those skis and blades are still lying around in the house. Not much use now, I guess.
They were just props. Why return them? Maybe you could make a sword out of one. No, wait, forget it. It would take too long.
Fortress Accident, the radio game studio. They were an interesting bunch. We talked about role-playing systems every now and then. Once, I even saw two of them get into fisticuffs over Wirral.
That's understandable. Fantasies are serious things. The mind is the drawing board of history.
They certainly took their work very seriously, even if they seemed to be chronically liberal with their schedules. The usual, they ran out of money and couldn't get the project done on time. Well, I did hear them talking at times. They seemed to believe they were historical individuals on some grand quest.
She sounds almost mocking when she says that.
Yes, but when the money started to run out, they just began to complain a lot about capitalism. You know, how the markets are rigged to keep out new businesses and so on. In the end, they just didn't get it done. They didn't have enough willpower to produce something truly historic and to show up to work on time. Still, not everyone is going to make it. That's the nature of the game.
The result is 1 on a 20-sided die.
Anything else? Oh boy, the fabled Revachol ICT. You're in for a treat here. The place was owned by two guys who had some rather innovative ideas about marketing. The bear was one of them. Now ask me about their other ideas.
Indeed. What were the other ideas?
There was really just one, and it involved picking out the prettiest girls in the neighborhood and paying them 20 cents per hour to man the booth. And by man the booth, I mean slump behind the counter with a face that could maim you if you ever dared to disturb their bored magazine browsing.
Fritta does the same thing.
Employing silky teenage girls is a widespread practice, yes. Unfortunately, they always come in packs. I'm talking about acne-ridden girlfriends and gorilla-like boyfriends loitering near the shop. At least that's what happened with Revachol ICT. And they already had the bear. The bear. Of course not. The bear was terrifying. No one wants ice cream guarded by a hostile apex predator. To make matters worse, the fridge didn't work too well either, and half the ice cream came out malformed and partially melted. Eventually, Ravishow Ice City lost the price war to its rival, Glacé 5000. Glacé 5000 sold caramel sundaes for only 5 cents a piece, out of regular fridges. You did what? I can see. The taxidermist who made it said it was his vision beast. He said he met his vision beast while high on desiccants. He called it Megatherion.
Sounds cool.
Megatherion, a mega wild beast. It's an imaginary beast that guides you through life. By telling you to do more drugs, mostly. Understandable. You shouldn't do them. You're a police officer after all. Anyway, now you know the story of the fallen ice cream empire. Anything else? Another failed business, perhaps? I've been here for a long time. Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else? Nothing really. I didn't know him.
The lieutenant looks at his notebook, then the woman under the large window.
Your window looks directly onto the courtyard. You're saying you didn't see or hear anything unusual last Sunday evening?
I'm sorry, detective, but as you know, I usually have my headphones on when I'm working. It shuts out most of the daily ruckus behind my window. Well, there's always something going on in the Whirling's backyard. During daytime, there are usually those kids, and lately I've been seeing a lot of drunk workers hanging about. Must be because of the strike.
She's heard of the murder, but did not see it, sire.
But I never saw anyone during that fateful Sunday night, I'm afraid. I might have, but in this case, all I would have seen is my own reflection staring back from the darkness.
It's light here, but dark in the yard at night.
It's really hard to make anything out in the yard when it's dark outside. Besides, I rarely get up to look out the window when I'm in the zone. It's an odd profession, making dice for people, but I like it, and I prefer doing this to sitting at home.
She nods.
Anything else, officer? Of course. Tell me what you have in mind. I think I have just the right one for you. You're a police officer, right? Here, catch. They're a gift from me.
A beautiful woman tossing you a gift. Whatever you do, don't overthink it. Mr. Smooth moves. You snatch the dice out of the air with one hand, just like you're in a movie.
Oh, what are the odds? The red one is made of bloodstone with a lapis lazuli inlay, and the blue one is the inverse. I believe these dice are your lucky charm, officer.
She winked back at you. Can you believe it? You truly are Mr. Smooth Moves.
You definitely need luck in Martinez. Was there anything else? I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarified things a bit.
Wow, you work hard. Oh, yes, you hustle. You're a provider. It's tough out there, but you keep it real and provide. Look at yourself. You're a human pedometer. You must have walked 200,000 steps down cracked asphalt, mosaic, sand, and linoleum after you re-emerged. That is the sign of a hustler who never gives up. The world is harsh and people are evil. You didn't make it that way, and you won't let it break you. You ride. That's just what it's like, life and death. But you got gills on your side, baby. Got those black papers with the faces of the innocents on them. You bring in the Franco-Negros and the Solas. It ain't easy, but you do it. Day in and day out. You didn't make the rules, but you won't lose. You're a cop, and a sprinter, and a money printer. Sure. And has it been easy? Is life easy? Have you not gone into cardiac arrest? Are you not about to have an anxiety attack or shoot yourself in the mouth? But you still hustle 24/7, ride or die. Now, ask yourself, are you rich? That's right. You work harder than anyone. You almost rode yourself to the grave and you're still practically a hobo. Why is that? Because of the taxes. G-Man's got his jam-covered sticky fingers in your pocket, stealing from you every time you buy, sell, walk, talk, fart, so much as sneeze. Aren't taxes almost non-existent in the Gotham estate that is Revachol? You and I both, but they got those indirect modes of taxation. Sales tax, excise duty, extraction tax. This tax that doesn't even have a name. Plus, there's the stuff people in other countries pay for that makes them ask for more money from you here. The Gotham estate's a myth. In total, the coalition government is taking 98% of all your money. What are you not sure about? They're milking your nipples till they bleed. Can't you see? Aren't you sick and tired of having bloody nipples? It's all about the tax issue, hustler. No other problem in the world is as pressing as top marginal tax rates. And don't you fucking forget it.